Hello, boys. So today we'll consider a tissue systems. So as before, in previous lecture we have seen meristematic tissue, then permanent tissue, and in permanent tissue we have considered simple tissue and parenchymatous tissue. Now here we have to consider formation of different tissue systems. So tissue systems will be formed, or rather they will be derived from the meristematic tissue. As we have considered three different classification of meristematic tissue on the basis of their position, on the basis of their function, and on the basis of their development. So here we have considered a classification of meristem on the basis of their function. So here we have considered protoderm, ground meristem, and procambial meristem. So protoderm, ground meristem, and procambial meristem, they will derive your tissue systems. In plant body, there are different tissue systems. Rather, there are three different tissue systems. So that three different tissue systems will be derived or will be originated from our protoderm, ground meristem, and procambial meristem. So protoderm, ground meristem, and procambial meristem will derive your tissue system. So there are three different tissue systems. That is, first it is epidermal tissue system, then there is a ground tissue system, and then there is a vascular tissue system. These three tissue systems will be comprised of or will form an entire plant body. Rather, this tissue system will include all your meristematic tissue, then permanent tissue, in that permanent tissue, complex tissue, as well as simple tissue. All these tissue will come together to form a system. A tissue will come together to form a system, and that system will regulate the different function according to their organization and their position. So here these tissue systems are derived from your meristematic tissue. So we have considered meristematic tissue on the basis of their function. So rather these three meristematic tissue will form your tissue system. In short, we will consider protoderm, as we have considered their derma. Derma means skin. So outer layer of your plant body will be formed by this protoderm. Then ground. Inside your derma, whatever the parts is there, except your epidermis and vascular bundle, that entirely will be comprised of a ground tissue system, and that ground tissue system will be formed by ground meristem. And procambial meristem. So procambial meristem will develop vascular bundle. So these three will form your tissue system will be derived from these three meristematic tissue. So we have three different tissue system: epidermal tissue system, then ground tissue system, and vascular tissue system. So we consider one by one. So first of all, we have to consider epidermal tissue system. So epidermal tissue system is going to form a outer covering of entire plant body. Epidermal tissue will form a outer covering of entire plant body. It means whatever the plant will be there, so outer part will be formed by your epidermal tissue system. So epidermal tissue system is meant for formation of outer covering of entire plant body. So they will be constituted of outer covering of entire plant body. So they are originated or they are derived. Epidermal tissue system is derived from protoderm. So protoderm will derive your epidermal tissue system. It is forming a outer covering of entire plant body. Suppose here we have a plant, we are taking a transsection of a plant. So this outer covering will be formed by epidermis. So epidermal tissue system has two categories. So first it is epidermis, and the second it is epidermal appendages. So epidermis and epidermal appendages. So epidermis is the outermost layer of elongated, see most important, elongated parenchymatous cell. So epidermis is the outermost layer of elongated parenchymatous cell, and these cells are arranged without any intercellular spaces. So epidermal cell or epidermal layer will be formed by elongated parenchymatous cell, and they are arranged without intercellular spaces. Means they will have single continuous layer around the whole plant body of this epidermal tissue. So it is outermost. The cells are elongated and cells are parenchymatous cell without intercellular spaces. See, remember, without intercellular space, because it is the outermost layer and it has to be continuous. Cells of your epidermal tissue has a thin wall, they have a large central vacuole, then they have a thin cytoplasm and nucleus. So cells are thin walled, they have large central vacuole, and say they have thin cytoplasm and nucleus. Then it has the outermost waxy covering. Epidermal tissue system. So rather we consider here, rather likewise there is epidermis, and this epidermal tissue system or epidermis has a outermost covering, and this outermost covering has a waxy substance, and these waxy substance form outermost covering which we call cuticle. Epidermal tissue has a outermost covering which we call a cuticle, and this cuticle is considered as a waxy layer. It means for prevention of loss of water. It prevents the loss of water, and these are absent in the roots. So your cuticles are absent in the root. So most of the time we observe on leaf the surface is shiny and glowing whenever you pour the drop of water, so that the drop of water will not get absorbed, and the leaf surface is becomes oily, and so water drop will fall down. So likewise this epidermis has the outermost waxy covering which we call cuticle, and this cuticle most important, remember this one, cuticle is absent in the root, so cuticle will remain absent in the root. Cuticle is nothing but a waxy covering which is meant for prevention of loss of water. Now root, there are epidermis which is present on the root will form a root hair, means outermost layer. This, suppose this is epidermis which is present on the, suppose our root surface, here we will consider our root surface, and on the root surface this epidermis will originate likewise root hairs, we call them root hairs, and these root hairs are unicellular. So root hairs is considered as appendage of your epidermis. Root hairs are considered as appendage of epidermis. So root epidermis, epidermis of a root will form a root hairs, and these root hairs will originate, these root hairs are the epidermal cell or epiblema, they will originate a unicellular root hairs, and these root hairs are meant for absorption of water. Root hairs are meant for absorption of water. So while root has a function of absorption of water, and in root your root hairs are meant for having absorption of water, and root hairs will grow on your epidermis, so they will increase the surface area for the absorption of water. So these root hairs are unicellular. Consider root hairs are unicellular, and it is a appendage, external appendage of your epidermis. So we call them root hairs, and they are unicellular, they are meant for absorption of water. Another appendage of your epidermis is stem epidermis. Stem epidermis. Consider, as we have considered this is root epidermis, so here we consider it as a stem epidermis. So this stem epidermis will also originate a hair-like structure, and these hair-like structure here we call it as a trichomes. Means hair-like structure present on the roots we call them root hairs, and hair-like structure present on the stem we call them trichomes. So these trichomes are originated from this epidermis, but they are not unicellular, they are multicellular. These trichomes are multicellular in organization. So likewise trichomes will be originated on the surface of stem from stem epidermis, and these hair-like structure we call them as a trichome. See the difference between epidermal, root epidermal hairs and shoot epidermal hair is that root epidermal hairs are called root hairs and they are unicellular. Shoot epidermal hairs are called trichomes and they are multicellular in origin. They are multicellular, they are branch or unbranched. Sometimes they could be branch, likewise there will be formation of branch. So these root hairs will form a branch. So sometimes they could be branch or they could be unbranched. So trichomes are multicellular, they could be branch or they could be unbranched. They are meant for prevention of loss of water. Means your root epidermis or root epidermal hair, that is root hairs, will mean for absorption of water, and shoot epidermal hairs, that is trichome, they will prevent the loss of water from the plant body. As root will absorb water, that water will be transported with the help of xylem to the entire plant body or stem, and on stem that water loss will be prevented by your trichomes. So whenever you observe a stem, young stem likewise, so that egg stem, if you hold toward the light, then you will observe likewise small hair as we observe on our body part. So similar small hairs, pointed small hairs you will observe. So these pointed small hairs are called trichomes, and they are multicellular. They could be branch or they could be unbranched, and they are originated from the stem epidermis. So here epidermis is a single layer of outermost layer which have elongated parenchyma cell. These are cells are without intercellular spaces. There will be no space. Cells are without intercellular spaces. Likewise, cell will arrange without intercellular spaces. And epidermal cell will be formed by epidermal tissue will be formed by parenchyma cell. And these parenchyma cells are thin walled. They have a large central vacuole. Then they have a thin cytoplasm. There will be prominent nucleus as well. And the outermost layer to the epidermis is considered as cuticle, which is of waxy substance. These waxy substance will get deposited on the outer epidermis, and that outer epidermis will form with that waxy substance which we call cuticle. And cuticles are absent on the root. So cuticle will not present on the root. So another, here we have considered epidermis and epidermal appendages. So here we have considered two appendages of epidermis, that is root epidermis and shoot epidermis. So root epidermis we call hairs, root hairs, and shoot epidermis we call trichomes. Now another important appendage which is considered as stomata, which is present on the which is considered as epidermal appendage. Now we consider stomata in detail. So here our stomata are meant for enhancing a transpiration. Transpiration means having gaseous exchange or loss of water in form of water vapor. So here there will be loss of water in form of water vapor through stomata. So stomata stomata is nothing but a aperture or small pore present on epidermal tissue. So likewise, so this is our epidermal tissue. Here on epidermal tissue there is the presence of small aperture. Suppose this is considered as aperture. So this aperture is present on epidermal tissue, and this aperture is called stoma. The aperture, as we have considered, the epidermal cells are without intercellular spaces. So here there is a space, and this space we call a small pore. We call it as a small pore. So this small pore is considered as stoma. This small pore is considered as stoma. So here I am taking it. So this small pore is considered as stoma. This stoma is guarded. This stoma is guarded by specialized parenchymatous cell, which we call them as this aperture. This is the aperture which has been formed. Suppose this is your leaf, and in leaf there is a mesophyll tissue will be arranged likewise. So here your mesophyll cell has to have an exchange of gases. They has to have CO2 and they has to expel oxygen. So rather they has to have a loss of water to compensate the temperature. So here this aperture becomes most important part. But this aperture, when this aperture should open and when this aperture should close. So for that there is the presence of such a guard cell. These cells are called guard cell. Stomatal aperture, which we call stoma, and to the stoma is guarded by the specialized parenchymatous cell which we call guard cell. Specialized parenchymatous cell which we call guard cell. And these guard cell have adjacent subsidiary cell. These are having adjacent subsidiary cell. So like that. So this is your stomatal apparatus. So this stomatal apparatus is also considered as a epidermal appendage. So there are three epidermal appendages, that is root hairs, shoot hairs or trichomes, and then stomata. So stoma means having a small pores. Small pores with a guard cell is called stomata, and having a subsidiary cell is called stomatal apparatus. Small pore is called stoma. Stoma with guard cell is called stomata, and having a subsidiary cell adjacent to the guard cell is considered as stomatal apparatus. This is entirely our stomatal apparatus. And these guard cells are of two types. Rather, guard cell could be kidney shaped or guard cell could be dumbbell shaped. So dumbbell shaped guard cells are present in monopod, and kidney shaped guard cells are present in dipod. So likewise, so these guard cell is going to regulate the opening and closing mechanism of this stomatal pore. As guard cell, there will be inflow of water will come inside, then guard cell will become turgid, turgidity will increase, and at that time here the stomata will get open. When guard cell will have loss of water, then turgidity of guard cell will get lost and stomatal apparatus will get closed. So this entire mechanism of opening and closing of guard cell we have to consider it in a transport of plant. So here the another apparatus it is stomata or another appendage that is stomata. So these stomata are also considered as a epidermal tissue system. So see, epidermal tissue system has a entire outer covering of plant body. Then your epidermal appendages will cover having a root hairs, having a shoot hairs, and stomatal apparatus. In stomata, stomatal pore, then your guard cell and subsidiary cell. These entirely are a part of epidermal tissue system. So this is your epidermal tissue system. Now we have to consider another tissue system, that is ground tissue system. So we consider a ground tissue system. So ground tissue system is considered to be it is the simplest tissue, but it will cover the largest part of a plant body. So rather, if you consider likewise, this is our stem, and as we are taking a transverse section of stem, so this transverse section of stem will have in a top view. So in that way, here your outermost tissue is considered as epidermal tissue. This is epidermal tissue, and somewhere inside the epidermal tissue there is going to presence of your vascular bundle. So likewise, patches of vascular bundle will be there, that is xylem and tissue. We consider vascular tissue later, but here there is a patches of vascular bundle. So only two tissue. You have to exclude this vascular bundle, the strips of vascular bundle, and other strips of xylem and phloem, which we call vascular tissue. This vascular tissue and this epidermal tissue. These two you have to exclude, and then entirely from here to here, or rather to the central pith, this entire tissue we consider it as a ground tissue. It means whole ground. But in that ground you just have to left your boundaries and the pitch. Pitch means vascular tissue or vascular bundle, and your boundaries means your epidermis. So rest of the area is considered as ground. We call it as a ground. And in ground, one part is differentiated as a pitch and another is considered as the boundary. So rest of the part inside that epidermis, rather boundaries, is considered as a ground tissue system. So here ground tissue system is a tissue system in the plant body excluding. Here we are consider excluding. So only excluding your epidermal tissue and vascular bundle. The rest of tissue is considered as the ground tissue. Epidermis and your vascular bundle and except all the tissue is considered as ground tissue system. Is composed or rather consisted in the ground tissue system. So ground tissue system is entirely derived from simple permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue means parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma are going to form entirely your ground tissue system. So here we consider your parenchyma or parenchymatous cell or parenchymatous tissue is going to form the major part of cortex, or rather cortex is formed or derived from the parenchyma, then pericycle, then pith and medullary rays. Parenchyma, in ground tissue system, parenchymatous tissue will derive or will form a cortex, pericycle, pith and medullary rays. So here these tissues are differentially organized to form a part. We will consider in a structure of stem. So here, or in case of anatomy of stem, here cortex, pericycle, pith and medullary ray are formed by the parenchymatous cell. Then your collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Collenchyma and sclerenchyma are going to form a hypodermal cell or hypodermis. Below this epidermis there is a presence of hypodermis. Sometimes this hypodermis could be in a continuous layer or sometimes they could be in a patches as well. So hypodermis is formed or is derived from the collenchyma or sclerenchyma. Hypodermis is going to form from collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And hypodermis is the part or the layer below your epidermis. So below that epidermis there is a presence of hypodermis, then there is a presence of cortex, then inside that there is a presence of endodermis, and then there is a presence of pericycle. So likewise tissue will be organized, that we consider a latter. So collenchyma and sclerenchyma are going to form hypodermis. So here parenchyma is going to form cortex, pericyclic pith and medullary rays. Leaf mesophyll tissue. The mesophyll tissue which is formed between upper epidermis and lower epidermis. So upper epidermis and lower epidermis will have a mesophyll cell. Rather, mesophyll cells are the chlorenchymatous cell, and chlorenchymatous cells are nothing but a parenchymatous cell, which we call a parenchyma having chloroplast is considered as chlorenchyma. This chlorenchyma is going to form a mesophyll tissue. Meso means middle, phyla means leaf. The leaf, upper epidermis and lower epidermis, this entirely considered as mesophyll tissue. This mesophyll tissue is also considered as a ground tissue, because upper epidermis and lower epidermis, somewhere in the region of midrib, in a leaf, suppose you consider leaf, so upper epidermis, lower epidermis, and at the center there will be presence of midrib. So that midrib and your small vessels will cover a vascular bundle. The rest of part which we call it as a mesophyll, and that mesophyll tissue is also considered as a ground tissue. So this is your ground tissue system. Ground tissue system is derived from ground meristem. Ground tissue system is derived from ground meristem. Then ground tissue system is the system excluding epidermis and vascular bundle. Rest of the tissue present in the plant body is considered as a ground tissue. In ground tissue, there is a presence of ground tissue will constitute cortex, pericycle, pith, medullary. Then hypodermis and your entire mesophyll tissue present in the leaf is considered as ground tissue. So here we have to consider vascular tissue system. So vascular tissue system is the system which has been derived from the procambial meristem, and its name itself indicates vascular. Vascular means vessel, and as we have considered, there is inner hollow cavity will present in your xylem and phloem. That is a complex permanent tissue. So complex permanent tissue, that is xylem and phloem, will constitute in your vascular tissue system. This vascular tissue system will derive from procambial meristem, and inside a vascular tissue system or your complex permanent tissue will organize, and complex permanent tissue is nothing but a xylem and phloem. So xylem and phloems are collectively considered as vascular bundle. As xylem and phloem will come together, so they will form a bundle or they will form a strips. We called it as a vascular bundle or vascular strip, or we called it as a vascular tissue. So this vascular tissue that is xylem and phloem is xylem, as you are aware about, xylem is mean for having conduction of water and phloem is mean for having a transport of food. So these two tissue, rather xylem and phloem, these two complex permanent tissue will come together to form a vascular bundle, and these vascular bundles sometimes are entirely forming a ring in the plant, or sometimes they could be arranged in the scattered manner. So they could be having a discrete patches, as well as sometimes they could be present in the continuous ring also. So likewise, there is the presence of vascular bundle, and that vascular bundle is going to form your vascular tissue system. So there are different types of vascular bundle on the basis of arrangement of xylem and phloem. So here we will consider there are three different types of vascular bundle, that is a radial vascular bundle, then conjoint vascular bundle and concentric vascular bundle. So they are classified, vascular bundle is classified on the basis of a presence or arrangement of xylem and phloem with respect to each other. Arrangement of xylem and phloem with respect to each other. So we are considering them into three different types. So first of all, we will consider radial vascular bundle. We call radial vascular bundle when vascular bundle, that is xylem and phloem, are present on the different radii, means different radius. So this is one radii, this is another radii. So suppose it is a plant part, rather stem or root or any part. So here we are considering a top section of a plant part, and with respect to that top section we are going to consider where exactly your xylem and phloem is located. So suppose here there is a center, this is epidermal tissue, and here there is the presence of your vascular bundle. So here was suppose one radius and another radius. So here this strip will be considered as xylem and this will be considered as phloem. So here xylem is present on one radius and phloem is present on another radius. So it means xylem and phloem are present on the separate radii. So then we call such type of vascular bundle as a radial vascular bundle. Radial vascular bundle is a vascular bundle in which xylem and phloem are present on the separate radius. Separate radius. They are not on the common radius. So such a type of vascular bundle is considered as radial vascular bundle, and radial vascular bundle is most common in the roots. So radial vascular bundle is most common type of root in the most common type of vascular bundle in the root. So first, that is radial. In radial vascular bundle, xylem and phloem are present on the separate radii. Then another type, that is conjoint type of vascular bundle. Joint. Xylem and phloem are joined with each other on the same radius. On the same radius. If xylem and phloem are present on the different radius, then we call it as a radial type. If xylem and phloem are present on the same radius, they are joined with each other. Rather on the same radius, they will be joined or they will be distant. That will be considered later. But they are present on the same radius. If xylem and phloem are present on the same radius, then we call such type of vascular bundle as a conjoint type of vascular bundle. And the conjoint type of vascular bundle is considered as a collateral and bicollateral. Collateral means on only side of your xylem there is a phloem, or rather only side of phloem there is a xylem. But in bicollateral, both the lateral side there will be presence of either xylem or phloem. So here in collateral type of vascular bundle, consider this is a same radii, and on this same radii there is a presence of xylem on inner side, and on outer side there is a presence of phloem on the same radii. If in between this xylem and phloem are present on the same radius, xylem is on inner side and phloem is on outer side. If in between xylem and phloem there is a presence of vascular cambium, suppose this is cambium. If there is a presence of cambium, then this type of vascular bundle we call it as the open vascular bundle. In between xylem and phloem, if there is a presence of cambium, in between xylem and phloem, if there is a presence of cambium means cambial meristem. So if this meristem, this secondary meristem is originated here in between your xylem and phloem, then this type of vascular bundle we call it as an open type of vascular bundle. So there are two different types of vascular bundle, open and closed, on the basis of having presence of meristem in between the vascular bundle, or rather cambium, secondary cambium, which we call secondary meristem, which we call cambium. So if it remains present in between vascular bundle, then we call that vascular bundle as a open type of vascular bundle. And open, why it is called open? Because cambium, you are aware about, secondary meristem is mean for, or rather it is responsible for increasing the thickness. So if it remain present, then there will be lateral growth or secondary growth will remain open for that. So we call it as a open. If in between your xylem and phloem there is a presence of vascular bundle, then we there is a presence of cambium, then we call that vascular bundle as a open type vascular bundle. Suppose here there is a presence of cambium in between your xylem and phloem, then this vascular bundle is considered as open. If this cambium is not present in between your xylem and phloem, then we call it as a closed type of vascular bundle. So if this vascular bundle is here, your xylem and phloem are present on same radius, so we call it as a conjoint. So xylem having your only phloem on one lateral side, then we call it as a collateral. If there is a presence of cambium in between the xylem and phloem, then we call it as the open type. If there is absence of cambium in between the xylem and phloem, then we call it as a closed type of vascular bundle. So open type of vascular bundle and closed type of vascular bundle are depend on having a presence of cambium in between them. So if there is a presence of cambium in between them, then we call it as open type. And if there is a presence of, if there is absence of your cambium in between them, then we call it as an open type of vascular bundle. So here a collateral type of vascular bundle is only on the one adjacent side there is the presence of phloem to the another. So here in collateral, conjoint collateral, phloem is on outer side and xylem is on inner side. So the another type, that is bicollateral. So bicollateral means both the lateral side of xylem there is a presence of phloem. Suppose at the center there is a presence of xylem. Here there is a presence of phloem. Here also there is a presence of phloem. So both the lateral side of xylem there is a presence of phloem. That's why we call it as a bicollateral. Both the lateral side of xylem are having the presence of phloem. Suppose in bilateral type of vascular bundle is considered as always open. We call them as always open. So here in bilateral type there is a presence of, here also there will be presence of vascular cambium, and here also there is a presence of vascular cambium. So outer phloem, this is phloem. So this phloem is considered as outer phloem. This cambium is considered as outer cambium. Then there is a presence of xylem. Then inner cambium, and then there is a presence of inner phloem. See, in bilateral open type of vascular bundle, here outer phloem, outer cambium, outer phloem and xylem. In between them there is a presence of cambium. This cambium we called it as the outer cambium. Then xylem and inner phloem. In between them there is a presence of inner cambium. So likewise they will be arranged. Outer phloem, then outer cambium, xylem, inner cambium and inner phloem. So such type of vascular bundle we call conjoined bilateral open type of vascular bundle. And now the last one, that is concentric vascular bundle. Concentric, common center. Xylem and phloem will have a common center. It means xylem and phloem, either xylem or either phloem will completely enclose another one. So, or vice versa, xylem will completely enclose a phloem, vice versa, phloem will completely enclose the xylem. So we consider there are two types. Suppose here there is your vascular bundle. Phloem and this is xylem. So here there is a center. So this center is common for this one and this center is common for this one. So we call it as a concentric. Here your phloem will completely enclose or completely encircle the xylem. And so if xylem is enclosed by the phloem, then we call it as a hydrocentric. Hydro means water conducting tissue at the center. So water conducting tissue, that is xylem is at the center. If xylem is at the center, then we call it as a hydrocentric. Here in hydrocentric, a xylem is completely enclosed by the phloem. Xylem is completely enclosed by the phloem. And in leptocentric, what will happen? In leptocentric, this is your xylem and this is a phloem. So phloem is at the center. So phloem is completely encircled or enclosed by the xylem. We call it as a leptocentric. So this is concentric vascular bundle. In concentric vascular bundle, one tissue, rather xylem or phloem, will completely enclose the another one. So here in leptocentric, phloem is completely encircled or enclosed by the xylem, and in hydrocentric, a xylem will be completely enclosed by the phloem. So likewise, these are three types of vascular bundle, that is radial vascular bundle, conjoint vascular bundle and concentric. Conjoint vascular bundle has two types, that is collateral vascular bundle and bilateral vascular bundle. And concentric vascular bundle has leptocentric and hydrocentric. And mainly vascular bundles are considered as open type of vascular bundle and closed type of vascular bundle on the basis of presence of cambium. Cambium means secondary meristem. That if cambium is present in the vascular bundle, then we call that cambium as a vascular cambium also. As we have considered while considering secondary meristem. Secondary meristem will have two type of cambium, that is vascular cambium and cork cambium. The cambium which remain present in the vascular bundle, that cambium is called vascular cambium. If vascular cambium remain present in your vascular bundle, then we call that vascular bundle as an open vascular bundle. If vascular cambium is absent in the vascular bundle, then we call that type of vascular bundle as a closed type of vascular bundle. And if cambium or secondary meristem is present in between vascular bundle, so they are definitely going to increase the girth of or thickness of that particular part. So rather, there are three different types of vascular bundle, that is radial vascular bundle, conjoint vascular bundle and concentric vascular bundle. Radial vascular bundle, in radial vascular bundle, xylem and phloem are present on the separate radii. In conjoint vascular bundle, xylem and phloem are present on the same radii. Here in concentric type, xylem and phloem will enclose each other. They will possess a common center. So likewise, these are three types of your vascular bundle. And these vascular bundles are going to form your vascular tissue. So wherever these vascular bundle will remain present in the plant, So they will form your vascular tissue system. So these are all three tissue systems of the plant.